Hey, 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 good evening. And here is my Sunday scan. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. I've never done this before, but I thought I might as well, unleash and do this for the first time, really. It's been a fairly good weekend for me, a good weekend, a good time to rest, eyes away from the market. And yes, that again, it's quite funny actually. I was literally just watching the World Cup. And unfortunately, Nigeria failed to qualify. Surprise, surprise, right? But anyway, let's get cracking. So I usually will start by sharing my screen and screen sharing I shall do. So let's see where we are and let's see where we think we are going this week. Okay. I've got to say, while I'm talking, the whole of last week was horrible, I guess, generally across the markets, because the markets did decide to show us the other card. You mean this Trump market does go down? Absolutely, it does. Many people just talk about thinking the markets will just keep climbing, climbing, climbing. And of course, the markets was climbing all walls of worry. The good thing is we closed up with the market with there was a position revealed by Berkshire. They bought Google. Boom. And someone said, does that mean Google believes in AI? Well, I mean, you've got to understand they bought a very sizable position. And I have actually learned to trust in the price action. Yes, in the long term, if you're looking at the markets would always constantly be going up on the long side. But hey, let's remember, only for some stocks. People just think you could buy any stocks and you're going to always make money. No, not in the long run. There are some stocks which would just literally die down. You got to understand also, speaking of the markets, we do have a very small percentage of the market making all the money. So not all stocks will make you money in the long run. Even in the long run, even if you buy and hold, you've got to be able to buy what is liquid. Pardon me, what is liquid enough, what is generating good business. You got to buy good stocks, the same way you got to read good books if you want to make real money, of course. So, and of course, Google is one of them, which Berkshire bought. You got to understand also Warren Buffett's actually handed over Berkshire to someone else. Um, so he's not actually taking charge at the moment. Is it Adil Lebeg, I think his name is. He's the one who's taking charge now. Two of them actually. It's Canadian, one of them. But you've got to be careful and stop thinking, yeah, we're just going to buy. I'm a long-term trader. Look, or investor. We have seen investors who buy long-term, and I do have some positions I bought since 2017, sorry, 2007. First time I had access in the market, and they are still way underwater right now. I cannot keep some of them right there as knowledge, as lessons. This is the tuition I paid to the market. You will all pay this tuition in one way or another. If you do not learn, you will learn by force. It's just that simple, really. So let's get cracking and see what we have. Okay. And yeah, so talking about Google, and Google had a pre-market action, I think after hours actually. I think Google is up just about 3%. But look at this, and this is all about great investors. If you buy good business, it does not matter where you buy them. Because look, this is Google all-time high, and if Berkshire could buy Google all-time high, or Berkshire that could buy Google all-time high, they will, ultimately they are more patient than the average Joe out there. And that's one thing I've got to say. Again, let's look at the cues and how have they been behaving. One thing, and I've learned a lot over my time as trader and even as an investor. You've got to buy, number one, buy quality positions, number one. Number two, buy good time, be able to hold them for longer time. Number three, you've got to trust data, not just the news. And I'm going to talk about a few experience I've had. Look, and that's what I say, price action overall. Really, number one, we talk about, I think I was just talking about Tom Lee. I think Tom Lee posted just today on CNBC that he still believes, what's the word again? Let's see again. that Bitcoin is still going to 200,000 in the next 45 days before by the end of the year. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin, how is Bitcoin or trading right now? Let's just see. And Bitcoin, you could see you really telling me Bitcoin could, more than double right at this moment where it's trading at right now. Bitcoin is trading at just below 95,000 thousand a pop. That's number one. Number two, if you, I mean, for the first time in the market today, I'm actually in my recorded shows, I decided I'm going to slap on moving averages. And yes, it's still well, on a weekly, Bitcoin is above moving averages. But look at that. No, no. So it's actually below now. And this is actually risky. So you cannot just think it's just going to aggressively double from here. Because if you look at Bitcoin all year round, all year, um, let's just see. Let's look at the price range from yeah, there you go, from January up to this point. So if you look at Bitcoin from January, and that is January, let me actually just slap the price on it, and you can see. So literally, it looks like it's something. Where's January? There you go. So you can see it looks like something that hasn't actually been profitable all year. And that's just simple. So it went up and it's just lost all its gains this year. And that's something. So you've got to be able to trade on data, not all the shiny heads, talking heads, what they tell you. That's number one right there. People just talk about buy Bitcoin and leave it alone, for example. Yes, in the longer term, it has been profitable, but you got to understand you need to be able to know when you can time some of this market. Like I said again, if you're an investor, this message is not for you. If you're a trader, then of course timing works in the markets. We do have quite a few positions as well. I mean, look, Tesla had Tesla Day when Elon Musk talked about his pay package and discussed this thing, and people thought, oh yeah, Tesla is going to go up. But guess what happened? It did crash, and that just stated or just posited the beginning of the crashes we had. Palantir, we've been talking about Michael Berry. Palantir also, what has that been doing? It's been literally, it's been a shellacking right now. It's just been drooling from an all-time of 200. It's lost about 25 points since that time. And look at that. The shot still they're still right there. So one thing you've got to do is trade with data, less noise, trade with data. Now, a few things I am looking out for, and everyone is hoping, hope is not a strategy. I put it out there in the group, and I said if Nvidia loses 180 baseline, then we're in trouble. But guess what? Markets was able to push it back in the last few days. The market was able to push it back in the last few days and it went all the way to 190. And of course, it held. You can see, so that's 190 Nvidia. And of course, everyone and their mother, they're looking at Nvidia earnings this week. What's the market? It's actually a high bar. Is it going to save the day? Like I always talk about Newton's law. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I have is in me, and this is not financial advice at all. But I'm just going to say we shall see. And I'm not here to talk about I told you so sort of a thing. But we'll watch for Wednesday and we'll see what Nvidia does. We'll do. This has always been happening. But if it's a disaster on Wednesday, just believe the markets will bleed a lot. But everything all seems like it's a big deal right now. It's all bad news everywhere. But no, it's not. Because if you think about this, if you look at this, the market's literally just right there. We are still very much at all-time highs. Okay, we're still very much at all-time highs. Some of my commodities are still not playing at all. Look, cocoa. Cocoa is not playing ball, and cocoa is just in its own world right now, extremely bearish. Also, crude oil, which is part of the commodities I trade, crude oil also is crude oil has not been again. Where's the slap on the line on it? Crude oil has been on its bearish for years, and nothing has been happening here. But again, we've got this very strong support line, and we shall see how it goes. Hope is not a strategy in this market. You just have to play with what you can see. But a few things we are looking at we talked about core weave, and I did say 75 is going to be a disaster. It went 74 and it bounced, but we shall see again how this goes. I'm looking for this if crypto keeps popping. Sorry, we're looking at call with anyway this week, but also if crypto keeps if crypto keeps drooling and keeps pooping, then of course I'm going to be looking at CLSK for the shots. Number one, quite a few of them actually. BTBT, Hive, further shots. BMNR, or Hive for the shots. You could see it right there. It's literally sometimes you just have to open your eyes, and these things repeat each and every time. Double top, double top. Look at that. So these things will tell you what you are or you should be looking for, really. Sometimes we just see these things quite late. Even Hive, look at Hive Digital. These guys have a bit of a story between them, but you know what? Less the story, more the price action, and that's what we're looking at. So yes, cold is another one I'll be looking at this week. I think SMCI hasn't been amazing either. That's another one right there. Yes, SMCI has been that has been struggling this year as well. So that I think that's another one I am looking at SMCI. One of the positions I'm looking. Let me just look at my notes here. Yeah, so, but I think generally, one thing we've got to understand is Apple, of all things, Apple has actually been all-time high in the market. But I think it was into weakness, it sold into weakness on Friday. But yes, so Apple has been all-time high. I think there are just see if I have a few notes I'm looking at here. Yeah, so but anyway, um so I will be paying attention to this, but also there's something I wanted to say. If you remember October, government shutdown, which is now over, we had a record government shutdown. And what happened then was that I've got something I'm going to show you actually. So we had a government shutdown, and then what happened was there was news. There you go. I just want to post the news here. There you go. So it was said that this inflation data that was not released will be released this week. So you got to watch out for another one here. So you got unemployment situation and real earnings of September 2025, which was meant to be released in October, was not released. So these guys get ready for a showdown on Thursday and on Friday. So we're gonna have real employment situation, real earnings. I think a part of me believes that inflation started creeping back into the market, but we decide just to calmly ignore it. Okay, so that's one thing to pay attention to. Another one is Alibaba. This happened on Friday close. What happened? There was news that there's a White House memo. Let's just have a look, which says White House memo. I think this is the Financial Times exclusive that Alibaba is helping Chinese military targets to military target the US, and you can see what happened. It just, it was a put literally into the close on Friday. But you could probably say it's made an amazing run all year. I mean, from the huge consolidation, right? That right, they had a rest, and of course, another rest is deserved. So sometimes these things tend to feel like it is programmed into it. But again, I'm looking for this into a further sell. I'm not really paying much attention to lower caps, but overall, I think bulk of my trades since last year has actually been towards the downside. I haven't really said much to the upside because I just can't see the market is weak. People just thought we all gonna keep going, going, going. Unfortunately, I can't see that. But again, bulk of these things going to be back with our trading group guys. But this is my should I call it a Sunday recap for the day, which I might start doing some of these things, maybe, who knows. But for the time being, I hope this makes sense, and wish everyone a great trading day this week. And until then, have a good week, trading day, a profitable week, and yeah, trade safe and take care. Bye bye.